For the first time in forever, I'm missing SEC Media Days, at least immediately, the immediate coverage of it. Still in transition, just didn't even think about Media Days and I need this and I need that. Was thinking now I'll get caught up come football season. So I'm not watching SEC Media Days, at least when it happens. So I am curious to know whether it be out of the SEC network crew or by the coaches themselves. At some point, the floodgates open about just that this conference cannot be matched. And the crew, for as great as they are, I could run down the talent. They do a tremendous job covering the SEC. I just remember just last year in particular, them showing themselves to be completely clueless about the rest of college football on numerous occasions, just having no idea who the quarterback for that team is, or that team actually plays a difficult schedule. Nobody plays a difficult schedule outside the SEC. This was hammered into our heads. I particularly remember last year by the SEC network crew that, again, when it comes to the SEC, top notch. When it comes to knowing what else is going on in college football, horrendous.
With all due respect to Joe Tessitore, every time I hear him talk,
the guy I was thinking of first and foremost too.
It's a carnival barker. Like, you watch SEC Media Day and like, some coach will get done talking and Tessitore will be like, the most amazing. There's no reason to shout about something we just watched a coach say. And so ever since he went to the SEC network, it's really, and it's gotten, I think, worse and worse. Like, he's always been a boisterous guy, but before I found it entertaining. Now it's more annoying than entertaining because, Kentucky versus Vanderbilt is not the biggest game in the world. I'm sorry. I understand you're forced to, do the play-by-play and let everybody know what amazing matchup this is. But, if it fell in the ocean, I don't know that anybody would notice.
Well, don't worry. Peter Burns will be right there telling everybody why Joe Tessitore is right too. I think I had to mute him on Twitter finally because I just couldn't deal with the. I'll use the term Tony did, the carnival barking. It was just a little bit more than I could handle.
Well, with the way the climate is over there at ESPN, you have to be all in promoting the product or you're going to lose your job because they've pretty much decided it doesn't matter who any of those people are in front of the camera or behind the camera or at a keyboard or at an editing board or anywhere else. They can pay people $15 an hour because they're ESPN. So you better promote the product or, that's one way you try and curry favor to keep your job. So he's a good company man. He promoted the product. He crapped on the Big Ten. Good for him. So yeah, it's going to get even worse, I'm afraid.
Peter Burns, great guy. I'll loosely call him a friend. We've had him on many times here, maybe 20 times. Great guy and so forth. But yes, every so often I have to respond to a tweet from Peter Burns and say, come on. Let's put this in context here.
We all got a job to do. We all have a product to move and everything else. And I get it. But Moses was not a member of the SEC. I mean, it's like legitimately, it just really gets to be a little much. And we all like to joke about the commercial with the pretty blonde girl saying it just means more and everything else or whatever. But come on.
I will say in defense of Peter Burns, I believe he believes all of that. Like, I don't think he's, I think he's a truther. He's an SEC. He's all in on the SEC, and he believes that. And honestly, it's the best conference in college football. So, if I don't think that is not. I don't think that's debatable. So, if you're espousing it as such, that's fine. It's just the way Tessitore for me it's over the top, and that's maybe just his natural delivery. It's not for me.
There were times last season, one being championship weekend, and there were a few other times where Paul Feinbaum just completely dismissed everything else happening in the country, basically saying, being asked about TCU at certain times during the course of the season and saying, it doesn't really matter. I have no idea what they're doing. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. I'm like, if you're going to take that attitude, then why cover the sport? Just
Mhm.
say you're an SEC guy. This is all I cover. This is all I know. Be upfront about it, but don't pretend to cover the entire sport and then just you have no idea what's going on anywhere else.